Friends and families gathered in poignant tribute at Wootton Bassett in Wiltshire.
Their funeral cortege is passing shortly through Wootton Bassett, that market town, which of course pays tribute to the fallen.
As we saw there, as that cortege made its way through the high street of Wootton Bassett.
Today lining the streets of Wootton Bassett to welcome home two of their boys.
Wootton Bassett, a small Wiltshire market town, has, since the coffins were first flown from the front into nearby RAF Lyneham 2 years ago, become the unwitting focus of mourning for those who've died for their country.
I'm ex-services. I did time in the Territorial Army, the Royal Warwicks in Coventry, followed by 5 years in the Royal Air Force. My first big station was Lyneham. I've not missed many since they started. I'm retired, but I meet up here with, there's a group of firemen. Rain or shine, you're out in the, and everybody's gets wet through, but we still turn out, whatever the weather, people are always here. Years ago, and it's not too long ago, like the lads from the Falklands. Nowadays, the bodies are brought back, but these lads, their remains are buried in the Falklands. They died for this country. They should come back here. I wouldn't want any relative of mine to be buried in a godforsaken place like Afghanistan. When you get a girl there breaking her heart just here, and she's looking in the hearse, her husband dead, and there's a photographer led in the road shooting up through the glass side of the hearse. I do find them very intrusive, and they don't show much in the way of respect when they turn up here. They're taking photographs here and they got woolly hats on. Everybody else is saluting, or they take the hats off, and they don't. And they just say, well, we're just doing the job, but it's just a matter of respect.
I'm Steve Blundell, and I'm the Royal British Legion Riders Branch Repatriation Liaison Officer, which means that within our branch of nearly 4,000 members of the Riders Branch of the British Legion, of which I have a fine selection here, I am the guy that's responsible for letting them know when these things are. We've been doing it for 2 years. And in that time, it's got to the stage now when you see that apart from yourselves, there's very few media here today, because one guy's coming back. For them, it's not sensational enough. For the family, that one guy is very important. That one guy coming back is as important now as the first guy coming back. And each one should be accordingly reported the same way. So I don't believe they are reporting it correctly. They only act on the sensational news when there's 6 or 7 coming back, or there's a particularly tragic story involved with a specific person that was killed in a specific way, or the job they did. And I think everyone should be accorded the same right and the same respect.
My name's Andrew Peach, and I'm from BBC Radio Berkshire. We've not been here before. The reason we're here is that the guy today is from the Irish Guards. We spent a lot of time with them in the run-up to their tour of duty. One of our journalists went out to Kenya training with them, and we spent the days immediately before they left for Afghanistan. It definitely has become a bigger thing. You know, I thought it was interesting around Remembrance Day and around the poppy appeal that these days we tend to think of that as being as much about guys who are serving now and the families of guys who are serving now as about the veterans of the Falklands, the Second World War, the First World War. Somehow it's become bigger in the media, and rightly so. And probably, in a way, the question should be, why wasn't it bigger before? You know, we kind of like restored it to the place it should have, I would say. My sense from being here is that people in Wootton Bassett are proud of this tradition that they have now in their town. It's got a new one that's developed of saying goodbye to the guys and being part of the cortege passing through. And my sense isn't that they resent the fact that it's covered and that they resent the fact that people know about it. I think they're quite pleased, I think, that it's I guess it's becoming what Wootton Bassett is known for.
Hello, I'm Mary Champion and I'm the Mayor of Wootton Bassett. I think it's quite important that, it's reported that somebody's been repatriated, but no, it's not as bad as it was. Okay. But at one stage it wasn't so. I think we had too much media, but then it's eased down and it is much more respectful now.
I'm Chris Wannell. I'm a town councillor in the town and former mayor of the town. I think that the repatriations are all about respect. Respect for those people who've given their lives for our freedom and our way of life. The media will pick and choose to some degree because it depends what other news is about. And if you keep reporting the same thing, then I suppose your news channel will get stale and people won't watch it. So it's a difficult balance to cut because one life is exactly the same sad loss as another life. And we won't here distinguish between one or half a dozen. It doesn't make any difference. All those lives demand the same respect. We did have one occasion when the media put up a helicopter and they used a lift and put one of these hydraulic lifts up over the high street. And I felt that was too intrusive. We had about a battery of about 100 photographers opposite the War Memorial. And it absolutely ruined the silence. All you could hear was the click of the cameras.
Wootton Bassett had never been about the people of Wootton Bassett. It's a place where most of us come to do this. In the last 6 months, numbers at Wootton Bassett have dropped very much. The local people started doing it, but that was a hardcore of a few local British Legion people. They still do it, but the local population, in the main, I wouldn't think 0.5% of the population turn up for each repat. Otherwise you'd have hundreds in the street, and you don't.
It takes place in our town, even though people come from all over the country to pay their respects. I think if people didn't want to turn up, they wouldn't. And there are many, many people, thousands of people who turn out. And we welcome those people with open arms and we treat them with the respect that is due to them. But the majority of people on the high street are from Wootton Bassett. And why can't the media say that the repatriation is at Wootton Bassett and the people of Wootton Bassett turn out? Because they do. It's a true statement.
I find it's very good that we're teaching people respect. We've got to have respect. I think it brings the community together. And not only the community, I think it brings the country together.
We've had so many thanks from everybody. We've had military bands here, we've had Welsh choirs. What else do we have? We've had so many.
Just so much.
Yes.
So much.
And I think that brings it home to you that you've really done, you are doing the right thing.